Lynn messed up all my pages there. So we're going to go back real quick and go back over a couple things. Integrity. So I'm going to give you an example, and then I want you to raise your hands out there, and I want somebody to give me an example. My example is my wife made a big old plate of chocolate chip cookies. Now, Coach B loves some chocolate chip cookies. Now, my wife said, don't eat those cookies. And she's like, I've got to run to the store and get a couple things from the grocery store. When I get back, all those cookies better be there. She leaves to go to the grocery store. Coach B sees those cookies, and he's like, them cookies are going to be so tasty. What if I snuck over there and took one off the bottom of the pile, moved the cookies around so it looked like I didn't eat anything, and I can munch that cookie, get me a glass of milk, drink that down? She'll never know. Would that be showing integrity? Raise your hand and answer the question. Is that showing integrity?
Chris raised his hand.
No.
You're right, Chris. That is not showing integrity. I was not doing the right thing when nobody else is watching. So can one of you... Okay, real quick.
Guys, keep yourself muted, and I'll unmute you. And I'll call on you to answer questions, okay?
All right, so everybody listen, hear that real good. Mr. Daniel will unmute you so you can answer the question. Don't everybody unmute at once and try to answer, because then we can't hear anything, and that makes it hard for everybody else. Make sure you're doing the right thing when nobody's watching and staying muted until Mr. Daniel calls on you, and then you can unmute. Okay, so I want somebody to raise their hand and give me an example of how they're going to show integrity at home right now.
Let's see here. Who has their hands raised? Jenica. Janicia, sorry.
Wait, what was the question?
Give me an example of how you're going to show integrity. I just gave my example with the cookie. What example could you use about showing integrity at home during this time?
Eating all your food?
Eating all your food. So if your mom put all kinds of vegetables on your plate and said, you better eat all this or you don't get any dessert. And then she's like, I've got to go to the store, but I'm going to be back. So are you going to eat all that, or are you going to go scrape it off in the trash and say you ate it all?
Eat it.
You're going to eat it, right? That's showing integrity. And if your mom came home and say, did you eat all your vegetables? You can say, yes, I did. I ate all my vegetables. Even if I didn't like some of them, I tried them. I eat my vegetables, and now I get dessert. But if you were not showing integrity, you would kind of sneak over, scrape it in the trash, cover it up. That's not showing integrity. So that's a good answer. Can somebody else give me another example of how they're going to show integrity?
Gavin, do you have your hand raised?
Yes.
All right, Gavin.
If I accidentally get ink on the couch, I tell my mom.
Yeah, you don't just cover it up with a pillow, do you?
Mm-mm.
No, you tell her. Did you accidentally get some ink on the couch?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, it's important that you told her you were being honest. One of our other core values, you were being honest. You went and told your mom, like, I made a huge mistake. I apologize. I got ink on the couch. You didn't try to cover it up. You didn't try to hide it. You did the right thing. Great, 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 great example. Does anybody else have one more for me?
Connor has one. Oh, Connor and Mr. Wood there. Let's start with Connor.
All right, Connor.
Don't eat too many cookies at once.
Okay, don't eat too many cookies. Well, is that because, why would you not eat too many cookies at once?
Or you'll get sick.
You'll get sick? Okay. Connor, have you eaten too many cookies at once?
No.
Connor. Are you sure?
I'm sure.
All right, Mr. Wood.
So if my sister tells me not to play with one of her toys I really want to play with, and then she leaves, and you shouldn't sneakily just grab it.
That is a awesome example, buddy. I really, 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 I think that may have been one of the best examples I've heard. So you've got a sibling, and they've got a toy that you really want to play with because it's an amazing toy. And you're like, oh, I really want to play with it, I really want to play with it. And you keep asking them stuff. And they say, no, you can't play with my toy. That's not good. It's my toy. Don't touch it. And then when they leave, go somewhere, maybe spend the night with a friend, you're like, oh, now's my chance to play with that toy. That's not showing integrity if you go mess with that toy when you've been told not to, you've been asked not to, and you do it anyway. So that's one of the best examples, and I'm going to give you a story. When I was about, I don't know, 12, I had a motorcycle. Yeah, I'm really, really, really excited about this motorcycle. And I was going to spend the night with my best friend, and I told my sister, I said, don't you dare ride my motorcycle while I'm gone. You do not have my permission. When I got back, she came out, she was somewhere, and she came back, and I said, why'd you ride my motorcycle? She's like, I didn't ride your motorcycle. I said, yes, you did, and you wrecked it. And she goes, how did you know? I actually made that up, but she didn't know that, but she actually told on herself. So she was not showing integrity. She rode my motorcycle, and she wrecked it. So if you do something like that, you go play with a toy you're not supposed to, and you mess it up, now nobody gets to enjoy the toy. So that's not good. That is an awesome, awesome, awesome example of showing integrity.
Hey, Coach B, I got a question that just came in.
Yeah.
Whoa, you all right there? You need some water?
I'm good. I'm good.
The question was, if you don't have a normal, like a real ball mark, when you're playing, what could you use?
Oh, my goodness. Well, look at here. I had that big white one right there, but you know what this is right here? That's a penny. You can use a penny, a dime, a nickel, a quarter. Some people use foreign coins. You can use about anything. You could actually take a tee and stick it in the ground behind the ball. Now, that makes it pretty hard for somebody to putt across, and they might ask you to move it a couple club lengths away. You can use anything that's basically going to be relatively flat, that lays flush to the ground, that can mark the position of your ball. So anything like that is really good. I was telling somebody last week in another class, I used to have a whole mess of 1967 quarters. And especially when I played in tournaments, that was kind of a good luck thing for me, is I always marked my ball with a 1967 quarter. Why? I don't know. 67 was an old football number, I guess. And but you can use a penny or anything you want like that. So good question. I like that. Anybody have any other questions about the putting green or any other things about integrity? Oh, wait, here's a question for you. When you're in one of the first tee classes and you go to a station and the coaches ask you to stand in a certain area when it's not your turn, somebody give me an example of how they can show integrity with that situation.
Chris raised his hand.
All right, Chris.
How the common people that raise their hands except me? That's weird.
Huh?
All
You
right.
got an answer?
Nicholas, you got one?
Yeah. While I was eating my food, I was trying to get that cookie, but I actually did not ate my food. But what I did the other time, I got a cookie.
Okay, that's good. So I'm going to go back to the example I was just talking about. So when you have a station at first tee, we have safety zones. So usually it's a hoop on the ground or something you have to stand behind. So showing integrity means you're going to stay in that safety zone until somebody comes and gives you a high five to let you leave. So if the coach is up there working with somebody who's hitting golf balls and you decide to leave that in, safety zone when you're not supposed to, that's not showing integrity. So if coach looks around and he sees you back there, now he's got to tell you to do the right thing. But if you stay in the safety zone like you're supposed to, and coach looks back there and he sees you there, he's like, man, that kid has some integrity. That's good stuff. So make sure any situation you're staying where you're safe, you're following the rules. That's showing high level of integrity. The coaches and stuff shouldn't have to tell you 5 million times to do a certain thing. You should show the integrity by doing what you're supposed to do, because you know what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, and all that good stuff. So those are some awesome examples this week of showing integrity. I tell you what, that's probably some of the best examples I've ever heard, and I'm going to use a couple of those in my classes. Does anybody else have any questions?
Connor has a question. Connor, go for it.
If you break something, you should tell someone.
Yep, you should. That's really good. Look, we all make mistakes. We all break something. Things happen, okay? That's part of life. But always being upfront and honest about it is super important. Wow. All right. Anybody have anything else there? I think it's about that time for us to wrap up this week's edition of First Tee Online. Sounds like somebody's back there skateboarding or something.